How would you score the
Ring.
podcast so far? Like, how would you score what we've been doing?
I would definitely say, I don't know if I can give another 10. We've already given a 10 this week.
Oh, we did?
To a certain game called Elden Ring. The little indie title from FromSoftware. I don't know if you've heard of this. Greatest things since sliced bread, apparently. Dan Tack, this is where I shut up and you do your thing.
Oh.
How the hell is Elden Ring?
Well, I mean, you can check out the review on the site. It is a 10 out of 10. I would have scored it higher if I could, but we don't have that number system.
Hold on. What would you have scored this game if 10 wasn't
Let's go higher. Why not an 11?
Oh,
I've played 10s, but we can only go so high. You know what I mean? So here we are.
I feel like we're a broken record here a little bit, because from the cover story and from all of y'all's video coverage, which you should go check out, youtube.com/Game Informer, you kind of hinted and intimated like this is something different, right? There's like you just said, there's 10s and then there's this, but you actually got to play through the full thing. You beat it, which you're a goddamn stud for that.
Whoa.
Like what is it that elevates this past the normal from fare?
I mean, the design. This is basically taking all the best things of everything that they've learned and accomplished over the last decade of games. So since Demon's Souls essentially, and putting them in one package that is all of their best accomplishments ever in the same place together. The pinnacle of every kind of aspect, from design to art, all coming together to form something that is completely transformative in nature. The exploration is completely unknown to me from any other experience in an open world game. And I've played Breath of the Wild, I've played some really incredible open world games, but nothing feels like it does here, where all the elements come together from music to animations to art to every area and every experience you have in that game. And it's also personalized. My journey is going to be different than your journey and different than Alex's journey. We're going to do things in different orders. I'm going to find things he didn't find. He's going to find things I didn't find. And that's always been a really cool part about the From games, is coming together with the community to discover shared secrets. And I know I found some stuff that I don't think a lot of other people have yet, and I can't wait for them to see, because it's incredible. The best stuff that I did find was not on Critical Path.
Mm-hmm.
And it contains the best boss battle in FromSoftware's games, which makes it the best boss battle ever. Think about that. This is like let's story time. I was cracking up against this fight for about an hour and a half, 1 a.m. ish. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna do the Souls thing and reset myself. This is clearly the hardest fight in this game, hardest fight in any FromSoftware game, best fight in any FromSoftware game. Immaculate and beautiful and terrifying all at once. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed, wake up refreshed, grab a water, and when and done when I wake up. You're right. Instead, I was sitting there just laying in bed going like, all right, hang on. I got it. And he's like, come rushing out of bed, get back up in my jammies. And I'm like, you're going down, you name I'm not going to mention. And it's just like
George R.R. Martin.
The fight is so freaking epic. Okay. I cannot, it just sounds silly for me to say that, but here I am, a grown man in my PJs, fighting off against the biggest fight of my life at 3 a.m., and it got done. It's like, it is the Souls Triumph experience times whatever. It's a new level.
Did you need to change your pajamas afterwards?
That's why I'm gonna miss you, Reeves.
That's why they call them PJs.
I did sit there for a minute though and just be like, well, wait, now what, right? I wanted another one. I wanted to do it again right away, and you can't do that, silly. So
dare I ask, what does a Dan Tack pajama look like? Is it just like silk robes with the wolf from Dark Souls 1 on it?
I do have a robe. There are no wolves on it. I do tend to walk around with a robe. I'll show it to you sometime, Alex.
That fits. Yeah. I've seen it. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There are no wolves on it though.
Okay.
But I think that experience right there really speaks to. I've never done that before in any of the other FromSoftware games. I've never done any game. Just like sitting there in the middle of the night, being like, I really want to go tackle it again. Not because it was like and people are going to hinge like with a lot of these games, people are going to hinge on difficulty, but there This fight is just beautiful in its design and construction and all of the elements of it coming together. It is the best one of these kind of fights they've ever done, and they're really good at these. The best boss fights in video game history are in FromSoftware games with this kind of experience, and they one-upped their own game with this. This is just one example. For example, let me talk about how this fight was different in another sense. To get there, you had to solve a secret that takes you to another area, in which you have to solve another secret to even unlock this gigantic dungeon where this boss is in. So that to me is Elden Ring. Going somewhere and finding things. And I know that sounds like, some you find everything, doing shrines in Zelda or whatever. It's not like that. It's you are in this world. You are an entity in this world with your own agency to go wherever and do whatever, and it's not going to like lead you there. It's not going to say, "Hey, buddy, you gotta go do that thing next."
Yeah.
No,
How active is the open world, Dan? Because I know a lot of open world games, when you think of those today, you think of like the Far Cry formula, the Assassin's Creed, like just a bunch of dots on a map full of here's a mini side quest. Are there side quests, or is the world, do you interact with the world differently than that?
there are multiple endings and side quests and different experiences you can have. It's not it's not a dynamic open world, right? You're not going to go someplace and it's going to be different than going to at a different time. But it is not a breadcrumb basket. There are for those players, I feel like some players could have been completely overwhelmed by how open it is and without any guidance. I know some players really don't like that, and it can feel very overwhelming. So there is like a very loose, like, go in this direction if you want to find the next main story beat. They have that for you. Other than that, you will not receive any kind of like quest markers or big flashing lights or anything like that. While there are many quests to do and NPCs to interact with, more than any of their other games, they will not put blinking lights on the board. There are a few exceptions where people will mark things on your map. Very few. You have free reign. One of the first things I did was try to sequence break the game at a bunch of different junctures. You know me. That's what I like to do. Probe the walls. And guess what? Almost every single time, I found an alternate way to get somewhere. There's one major boss in the game that you can get to without even doing their dungeon. They have a full-fledged legacy dungeon that you can go through. You might not even find there's at least 3 ways to get to that boss that I know of. And I'm sure there's more. There is an incredible breadth and depth of just like, how do I want to tackle this? It's not just I'm going to go over here and do this activity and get a reward. And you might think that going in. I know people during the early stuff, even the really great early stuff we saw, are like, oh, that catacombs is like 2 rooms with a couple of imps in it and a treasure at the end. Later on, those catacombs and tombs and stuff, they are much more advanced. You will have to use your noggin to figure out how to get through to get those rewards. And they might even lead you to new areas. Maybe the catacombs doesn't end with a treasure box. Maybe it ends by going out into a whole new area or another way to get to an area that you hadn't seen before. These are not like constructed, designy activities, right? It's not tower here, horde mode here, other thing here, checkpoint here. It feels natural. Sure, if we think about it in game design terms, all these elements can be boiled down to that. But you never feel like that when you're in the game. You feel like you are on an adventure, and you are. You are, baby.
Yeah. So to me, honestly, like this sounds kind of overwhelming. Is it that purposeful design that keeps it from being too much, right? Or what is it? What's the secret sauce there that makes it like manageable?
It is too much, and that's what makes it awesome. You may. I took notes, and I think you should too. Actually, if you're going to play this, there are a lot of great markers you can put on your map for like points of interest and things you see in the distance. If you can see it, you can go there. You can mark it. But if you find yourself in mysterious places, try to like write down how you got there, just in case you need to come back there later to replicate that.
Got it.
Because otherwise, you might find yourself like, I don't think people realize how big this game is. It's enormous, and you can find yourself halfway across a world, and then realize, you know what? There's that thing at that place that maybe might have some interesting interactions with this other thing I'm doing right now.
Be too detailed.
I don't want to be. This journey, like the temptation to spoil a lot of these things is there for sure. But this game, the one word that if I want to use that other than adventure, which is fitting, would be discovery. And I don't want to take that away from anybody as they go through this. This is an experience that you only get to have once. And I regret that immensely. Having, I'll never get to fight that one boss again for the first time.
Yeah.
God,
How's the moment-to-moment action? Like a lot of people decry FromSoftware games as being hard games, and I think you're on the side of I don't know, so hard as they're just very deliberate. You got to be intentional with every attack and be cautious and aware of your surroundings. Is the moment-to-moment, is it kind of what we expect from games at this point? Is there something new to the action?
You'll definitely be challenged. How much you want to be challenged is kind of up in the player's hands. Like I said, that fight that I was talking about, that's optional and locked away. You do not need to ever engage with that battle. And I think the core fans are going to be the ones who seek that one out. Critical Path, you've got all kinds of options from multiplayer to the fact that it is open world. If you get stuck, go somewhere else. You got a lot of places to go. You're going to get much bigger and more powerful and unlock many more options by exploring. And you're encouraged to do so. I know people, I didn't want to take on any of the major bosses right away. I just wanted to go and see everywhere I could go. And I found some sequence breaking there to get me past areas I probably wasn't supposed to be in. And I just kept going. You can just keep going. It is a world that begs to be explored. It does play differently than other games, like the other From games, in terms of how it engages with the player. And I know the concept of it being hard is often, unfortunately, the only topic that comes up when these games are discussed. And we neglect to discuss many of the other incredible elements. This game is completely breathtaking.
The action is basically the same. It's like very deliberate combat.
The action, it's deliberate combat, and I think in this game specifically, in direct comparison, as you wanted to the other games, you have many more customization options in this one because of the way they've lined up the new systems. You can take one ability from one weapon, stick it on another weapon. You can take the stat scaling on one weapon, put it on another weapon, so you can create the sword of your dreams, or you could make this has more class customization and diversity than any of their games on a scale of magnitude that has not been even touched yet. You can make your own choose your own adventurer for your choose your own adventure here.
Do you find, because like one of my favorite parts of y'all's super replay with Marcus was his inability to let go of the shield in Demon Souls, right?
That was so fun.
It was, yeah. Is there a path for poor Marcus in this game if he wants to do like a sword and shield versus big man club running in and just annihilating everything?
At one point in time, I was running around with a giant anchor I was swinging around. They have everything.
So shield builds are very viable. Marcus was just playing shield wrong. Okay, there's a big difference there. And I knew we were never going to get anywhere the way he was. I mean, he was putting he was using a dex blade with a strength build. I mean, that's not a good idea.
What an idiot, right, guys?
So all we did was give him a strength sword. No. We're just gonna. Yeah, you can even run dually shields in this game. I think there are builds for that. Like you can actually just dual wield shields and use shield arts if you want. I think that's a viable build. You can certainly shield builds are everything is viable in its own way, and people are gonna have fun messing around with the most absurd items and weapons and stuff, especially as people find the more unique stuff. Like there's some really. I don't want to say out of place because this is a fantasy world of epic proportions, but there's some stuff you might be surprised by what kind of tools you'll have access to.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, is this guy crazy?
Which one, him?
Haven't you?
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I agree. And this is coming from the perspective, right, of someone who has little to no experience with Soulsborne games. A long time ago, not really a long time ago, a couple months ago, I tweeted that I was going to hop into Sekiro, I think. I don't know if y'all remember that. I remember tweeting I was going to hop into that.
Tweet?
The tweet. It's like probably my most popular tweet ever. But I hopped into it's like 11 likes or something. But I was like, I'm going to play Sekiro. And I remember Dan said you should play Bloodborne first.
I definitely never ever recommend Sekiro to play first.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were just like play Bloodborne first. I was like, yeah. So I played Sekiro anyway, and that didn't go well. So then I went to play Bloodborne, and I'm not gonna lie, that didn't go well either. And that's not on those games. Those games I played like maybe an hour of each, and I thought they were both incredible. It was definitely on me. But I knew that Dan was super excited about Elden Ring, and even though I wasn't great at the other games, I was like, I want to try Elden Ring. I want to play it. And even I feel like this is a game we're going to be talking about forever, and I've hardly made any of the progress Dan has made. I am still working through the first boss, like 20 hours in, but it's true. Like the discovery aspect of it, you can go anywhere. And sure, that could be overwhelming, but I feel like I've never really seen like an open world designed in a way where like there are still aspects of the game that might direct you somewhere, but then you'll go to the bottom of the map and then you'll be directed to keep going that way. So it's like the story beats are really checkered throughout the map, and there's no right way to do anything. I remember I played with AVA, and I remember asking him, is there a wrong way to play this game? And immediately he was like, no. And it was like, that's awesome. That's like so cool that that
So
it can
running
be
and
fine
hiding
tailored
is
to my
viable.
experience. True. Yeah. I mean, I've been doing that for 20 hours.
Yeah, that'll be my attack.
Yeah.
But no, it's incredible. It feels like a horror game, at least for an amateur like me. And the atmosphere is super oppressive in the best way possible. I dream about the game. I don't know if that sounds ridiculous, but I do dream about it, and it's just so good. I'm really excited for people to hop in, veterans and amateurs alike. I think there's something to gain from it, even if you're not making the same progress as someone who's been playing for years, right?
So, well, and that makes me personally feel really good because I was looking forward to hear Dan talk about it, but also like if you've listened to the show, my history was from the game, and it's not much, right? It's dabbling here. It's 30 hours in Dark Souls 3, but that's pretty much it. So, I guess I pose the same question to you then, Jay, what I asked Dan earlier. Like, you as a newbie, like, is it just that palpable sense of discovery? Is that just what it's like? This is overwhelming and this is hard and I don't care. Like, is that the driving force here? Or what was it for you?
I just think there are just so many novel things around every corner, right? And sure, it's frustrating when you've accumulated a bunch of runes and you're just like, oh, but I want to like maybe just keep going to see what's around the corner, and then you just get murdered, right? And you have to like work your way back to get those things. And sure, that's frustrating, but like it feels just naturally built into the loop. At a certain point, you just have to accept the fact that if you're going to keep exploring, there's going to be danger and you're probably going to die. But it's always it's kind of fun to re-experience that and maybe come back and just be better. So yeah, I don't know. I guess after a while I did realize like, hey, this is going to be overwhelming. I don't know how to play. You know what I mean? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's right. I'm still using like a sword and a shield because I'm scared. But like I know eventually I might not have to do that anymore, right? And I'm willing to put the hours in for that. So I think you just sort of suspend your disbelief a little bit. I think you sort of I think you just sort of accept that there's going to be so much death, like just so much, and you just kind of got to be okay with that, because if you're not okay with that, you're just going to miss out on like really a once in a generation game. It feels that way, right? And I have not even seen I feel like I haven't even seen 1% of what this game has to offer, and it feels like I need to keep playing or I'm going to miss out, Yeah.
Wow. Look at that. Also, I found your tweet. It says, gonna try Sekiro. It'll be my first FromSoftware game.
Oh, you found it?
Yeah.
13
likes.
Right.
13 likes.
Right? Yeah. I'm getting up there. Verified next, baby.
You'd be verified already if you played Bloodborne first.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that's what we're... Okay, see, I can't get verified either and play Bloodborne.
Yeah,
I
that's
see
how
the
Twitter
connection
works,
here.
guys. You don't understand.
Right.
It's run by Miyazaki. Alex Van Aken.
Yes.
Look at you. Beautiful boy with the green in there. You've sat patiently listening to these fools talk about Elden Ring. Once in a generation, this, blah, 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 that. It's not Breath of the Wild, right? Is it?
It is. I'm not going to be that guy today where I compare the game to Breath of the Wild. As much as I want to, I think
Man's a co-host on a podcast as the only opportunity to do that, and he doesn't do it.
Okay. What I want to say about this game. First of all, we only had about a week with the game. So I'm like hesitant to make these sweeping statements as much as I'm just going to do it anyways.
Let's go.
Breath of the Wild
Come on,
is
Dan,
my
beat
favorite.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild is like on any given day like my favorite game. That and World of Warcraft. And there have been several days playing Elden Ring where I'm like, this is better than either of those. Like I just am enjoying myself so much. It is certainly the best game I've played in the last 5 years. It is just full of curiosity. And I know it's cliche to say like there's surprises around every corner. Truly in this game, everywhere you go, even in like the most innocuous places, you can find something that is magical. Like, and I'm watching footage right now. My footage that I captured. I put 33 hours into this game during the review process. For somebody who just does the video versions of these reviews, typically I get what I need after like 5 hours, and then I'm good to go. Elden Ring, I cannot put down. It is incredible. I love I was kind of worried going in whether or not I would resonate with the fiction and like the world itself, the lands between, because that's kind of always been a little bit a barrier for me in FromSoftware games. Like just like their particular style of fantasy or the eldritch horror sort of settings, the Victorian London, you know. They were cool for sure, but didn't necessarily like tickle my fancy all the way. This game, and I don't know if it's just they've had so many years to like to work on this, and they had George R. Martin help create this world. I don't know what his contributions even were. Regardless, the fiction and the setting is so interesting to me. There are like, just like the background lore of the characters. Like there's one section of the game, we've talked about it in the preview coverage, about just like how there's an obsession with like grafting body parts from other tarnished, and like there's certain people in this world that are using others' body parts to become more powerful. It's like a weird, it's a, like Dan says, it's a, I think in his review says it's like a dark and twisted fantasy. And
How is that all presented to you? Because in the past, the lore that From creates is always pretty interesting, but the way
Yeah.
they tell that story is
cryptic.
well, I mean, the way they tell it is also very interesting in a different kind of way. Is the storytelling here a little more front facing? Is it easier to digest?
Every kind of realm has their own kind of narrative that interacts with the other realms, sort of how the key figures and players have their goals and motivations for this universe. The very big story beats are very easy to understand as you move through the game. The side tales and exactly the relationship between some characters can be more, you got to go down a rabbit hole to figure out a little bit more. So that's very traditional from software storytelling. But the main beats, like this is the main thing that you are doing on this, you know, there are different endings. In this ending, you're doing this. In this ending, you're doing that. Those are very easy to understand, I think. But as far as getting into the exacting nature of things, it may be helpful to like go into the dialogue with characters and do specific quest chains. But each realm has its own identity, and I think it's really strong. You can tell it was like built that way. Like Limgrave is, you know, this color scheme and this kind of feel, whereas later you'll go to like a place like, you know, the mountain, which is very different, or the plateau. God, so these
have a plateau and a mountain.
See, I've played 33 hours. I haven't even seen that. I don't know. haven't seen this mountain, Dan.
Right, and these places, they're still not even. Oh God, later. The stuff that you can get to later, my friends.
You're such a tease. I love.
But I'm not teasing. I want to keep it. I will not deny a player that first time experience of seeing these places.
Oh, that wasn't a shot. I just love it. I think my favorite part of this pre-release cycle was everyone posting their little gifs and their little memes on the timeline, and I was loving
and you know what?
it.
That should tell you something, because I never do that.
No,
I get the embargo and then I don't say anything until the embargo. That's it.
Yo,
I don't say anything. I don't tease anything.
It felt like everyone on the timeline was doing the little Elden Ring period, because that doesn't break embargo. You know, you're not saying nothing.
It's a game name. Yeah.
I like posting, you know, random gifs.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What?
Nothing.
What do you like posting?
Like
peanut butter?
Yeah. Like gifs. Listen, technically they are gifs, but
I don't get. Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I said a second ago I am watching my footage as we talk. I literally just got to a part and this is like the core Elden Ring experience for me. I went and tried to open a chest, and it was the room filled with smoke, and it
Oh,
teleported me to a
Yes.
different area.
yes.
I
Yes.
fought my way out of that area, and then I came out of the cavern into a hellish
Oh yeah.
You did that
place.
too? You did that too? Oh,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Dude,
So
dude. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
no. Yeah, those are like people were asking if the mimics were going to be in this game. So yeah, the teleport traps, that's a new way to sort of scare the player. And yeah,
Oh
they can go
God.
on, Alex. Tell us
Yeah.
what happened.
I'm watching myself and like watching my gameplay right now, and I'm just checking my map like over and over, like looking around at this hell landscape, checking my map, and I'm on the opposite side of the world. And then
Mhm.
I run back into the cavern and leave because I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't do this right now.
Yeah, that's
No,
amazing.
yeah.
And
Like I'm
It's
sorry. I was just gonna say to AVA's point, like
yeah.
there's like reward in the frustration with something like that because you kind of also get to see what's like in store, like what's waiting for you out in the world, even if you're not ready for it. And I don't know, I just think there's something really exciting about that. I died a gazillion times in that area just trying to get out of that damn cavern.
But like if you are willing to kind of go and explore, there are truly like so many curiosities. Like also the weapons and rewards and armor pieces that you can find just by doing the most random thing. It's awesome, you know. I don't want to give specifics because I don't want to spoil anything for people, but
Right.
there are if you will see so many things in the distance, and Dan's already mentioned this. Go check it out. Go see what it's about. If you can figure out how to maybe there's like a guarded, caravan or something. Try to figure out what they're guarding, I bet there's probably something there. And when you open that up, oh my gosh, like it's so good.
Alex, are you a From fan? Van Aken, you like a From fan before this?
It's complicated. Um like I said, I've played several From games. The only one I've beaten was recently. That was Bloodborne, and I played it in anticipation of this game so that I could have a greater context for
Mm.
kind of understanding From Software games. And I feel like that did help me actually. I felt
Yeah, I'm
like
just trying to get a sense because I know, I mean, it feels like Dan was predispositioned to love this game because he loves
yeah,
From, but I was trying to
I feel
gauge
like I'm in the
from
middle somewhere,
people who, because I'm in that
closer to
camp
beginner. I feel
where,
like
yeah, I don't totally like, I don't hate From games, but I've never fallen in love with them the way
Right.
a lot of other people have. But hearing you guys talk about it, you're like, oh, this is the best game ever. I'm like, it seems like this is somehow resonating with people who have not traditionally loved From games, which is exciting. But I'm also hearing you talk about it. I'm like, this just sounds like another From game. Like, I can't quite put my finger on what the difference is. It seems like you got to play it to really understand.
I think it's the number one, the quantity of rewards and like I feel like there were definitely moments in Bloodborne, I can speak to that, right? Where I would go and off the beaten path and find something really great. Um, but I feel like Elden Ring just takes that concept and just amplifies it by 100. And then also the fact that the whole game can be a divergence if you want it to be. Like I felt like in Bloodborne there were like brief moments where like okay, like I have to go this way eventually. Sure, there might be a couple secrets or spots here or winding paths to like take me somewhere else, but at the end of the day, I need to go back here to see the next thing. In Elden Ring, it is like Dan said, like you can go anywhere, and when you
Mm.
compile that with that idea of like we're going to reward you for your exploration, not just like with like, oh, here's some XP points for finding a new area. Like I'm gonna give you really awesome rewards that somebody else might not ever find because you chose to go and open up this chest in this set of ruins. Um, I don't know if that answers your question, Ben. I think
Yeah,
it's
well, I mean, it's clear that you guys are effusive about it, but when you say like you can go anywhere, it's like that's something open world games have been doing for 20 years. So like
I
that doesn't like
yeah,
really blow my mind.
Here's
I
how
think
it's because of the From formula prior to this was you have really awesome dungeons, right? But it's dungeon 1 connected to dungeon B and C, and you can go to B or C. Now you can go changing that formula to having their amazing level design and structure combined with this vast open space full of stuff to find really does change how the game is approached because and especially for newcomers um if you get stuck on a boss in a Souls game for instance you have to figure out how to beat that boss or grind until you're big enough to kill it. Here, just go somewhere else. And I don't mean just go somewhere else for 5 minutes. I mean go somewhere else for 15 hours. And then you can come back and just destroy that boss. That's something you can't do in a Souls game.
Right.
And I think, Ben, the thing that this game does that other open world games don't do for me, I feel like, how do I articulate this? I'm not a big fan of open world games. I feel like I play a lot of them, but none of them really, even though that, like you said, it's standard fare to like be able to go anywhere in an open world game right now. Like in 2022, that's just like, that's an open world game. Yeah, you can go anywhere. I feel like the motivation, I have motivation to do so in this game that I don't in others. And I don't know if, I think part of it is the varied sites and encounters and all of that. Like the sheer epic scale of the encounters that you can discover. Like the side moments in this game feel like the main moments in other games.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say something that'll probably get me in trouble. But in Elden Ring, you are exploring to survive. In other open world games, you're exploring some stupid hideout just because you want to get an achievement or something.
You know,
Nobody cares.
Who would you get in trouble with for saying that?
Nobody cares at the end of the day what you do at Bandit Camp 5, 6, or 7. Nobody, not even you. But in Elden Ring, you could find something that will change your entire play style. You never know. You never know what it's going to be. There is a true sense of wonder to that, and not just that you're going through the motions of completing an open world activity when you find a new location. And I'm not saying all open world games are designed that way, but I'm saying that is definitely a facet of open worlds where you have, these are the 5 different activities you can do on the map if you want to do them. And nobody really cares if you do them.
And I mean,
there have been rewards.
The motivation to do them here is intrinsically tied to the FromSoftware base formula.
Well,
if you will.
And I guess I disagree with the idea that all open world games are like let you go anywhere, because technically that's right, but like Horizon, right? Horizon, I'm playing through it right now. You go way into the map, you're punished because you're facing a level 40 machine at level 15. There's no real reward there, where it sounds like this, and that's why Breath of the Wild was so great, right? Like, yeah, you'd run into a lion or lichen or whatever they were called, Lionel. Right? Lionel, thank you, Lionel Richie, and you would avoid it, but like there was some reward to that. There was some sense of discovery. There was a shrine there, right? And it sounds like this, even though I'm sure people are rolling their eyes at the Breath of the Wild comparison, right? It feels like it's more rewarding in that way, like Zelda was in 2017.
Podcast, we have to talk about Breath.
Exactly.
It gave me the Breath of the Wild feels like over and over again, but there were definitely moments where it exceeded that for me, I think.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of statement I hesitate to say because I've had a week to play this game, but.
It's also fair to talk about moments, right? There's moments in Horizon that supersede like Halo 3 for me. You know what I mean? Like moments are moments. Like you're not making.
Yeah, but like Elden Ring is full of those moments.
Yeah.
Like it is ridiculous.
I love that you guys are so excited about it. It just feels like a game I'm not really going to fully understand the enthusiasm until I actually play it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe that's.
I agree. It is an experience. It is an experience that, I mean, I would say has to be do it.
Just do it.
And of course, yeah. I know some people are going to be like, "Yo, Dan's just a From fanboy," but I hope that the other perspectives here can help flex that out.
I am not a From fanboy.
No.
Yeah,
at all.
I have like 2 hours clocked into the whole series before this game. So,
and also, I mean, I did talk to Dan throughout this process. I talked to Jay like once. Like it's not like we're like,
true. Yeah,
it's not like we're like, dude, this game's so great, man. What do you think? Like we both played fairly separately from each other and both came to the same conclusion with wildly different experiences with this game and past games. Right? It is. I think that speaks to the potency of this experience. It's very good.
Cool. Quickly before we get off it, Dan, one question I did want to answer is combat more Dark Souls, Bloodborne, or Sekiro, or is it just a mishmash?
It's all of them actually together, which is interesting, right? You have Sekiro's posture system is there behind the scenes, and it's sort of getting away from the R1 spam and roll spam that has been a big part of Souls,
Mhm.
as many Souls players know. So you'll be using jump attacks and charge attacks a lot more if you're going to be a melee combatant. And you can actually, again, you can build your own character. So you can take the Bloodborne Quick Step and add it to your kit through an Art of War. If you
Got
really,
it.
if you want to play it like Blood, you want to play Speed Demon, go ahead. You
Mhm.
want to play the big and burly, you can do it. But all those combat systems are basically there and refined. It is basically a new amalgamation of multiple of their old, kind of systems. So
Okay,
it's new, but you'll feel at home if you've already played Souls stuff. But you'll have to change it up a little bit differently.
for sure. And then the last question I have, and I'll make a statement, and you say yes or no and why quickly. Dan, here is Elden Ring is From's most approachable game. Yes or no?
I mean, there's no right way to answer this.
Maybe Jay should answer this. I don't know.
I mean, if anyone has an opinion, right?
I can't
Yeah,
answer
let
it.
Dan do it. Yeah.
The answer is yes, but not in the ways that that is, that the discourse is saying. It is not easier. You will be challenged. In the sense that it's the most approachable is that you do have lots of tools at your disposal. Whether or not you're willing to use them, that's up to you. And I hope that you do use them, especially if the From Software games have intimidated you in the past, you stayed away from them for that reason. You've got spirit summons that can help you out a lot with bosses. You've got other players to call upon. Perhaps the most fundamental difference here that we've talked about a lot is that if you do get stuck at a challenging encounter, there are many other things for you to do.
Right.
It feels like an endless amount of things that you could be doing other than bashing your head against the boss. Also, when it comes to bashing your head against a boss, which is, that's going to happen eventually, right? There are none of those runbacks that people have complained about a lot for
Right.
the series. You're right at that boss, ready to go again. Just get right back into the fight. Pick it up. Go, go, go. No running back through halls full of monsters. You're just back in the battle.
That honestly, it may sound dumb. That is one of the things I'm most excited about for this game.
No,
Yeah.
it's a great
You
quality of life
saying that
improvement.
makes me more excited than you can go anywhere. Like it's like that's
So there have been quality of life improvements that make it more approachable, but I don't want to mislead anybody. You will still be challenged.
We're talking about approachability, not accessibility, not difficulty, right? We're talking about are there quality of life things that make this a little bit more modern than some of the other stuff? And it sounds like the answer is yes. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I don't know if I'm sorry. It's been a long talk. I don't know if we've said this.
Yeah.
The walk to bosses in most cases is very short. Like you don't have to I can think of one exception where like I had to trek across the map again to go and try my hand at that boss again.
But there's I can't remember what you call them, Dan, but there are checkpoints right next to
Stakes of Marika are near. I don't know what encounter Alex is talking about, but I cannot recall an encounter that I had to actually run back to.
Okay.
I always got to start right there.
Okay.
Then maybe I missed I might have missed a statue or a site.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Which is possible.
Yeah. Well, gang, I thought this was a fascinating discussion. If you want more, we have so much more. We did Elden Ring was our cover story last month. Time doesn't make sense anymore. So we have so much. I think it was last month, right? Yeah.
What is time?
What is time? Yeah. When you're listening to this in 2024, it won't matter anyways. But go to youtube.com, go to Game Informer. We have so much more Elden Ring stuff. We have a lot more to come too, which is exciting. We're just getting started, baby.